Hello, beloved.
What's going on? How you doing?
We got it. We got it going.
That was my bad.
Auntie and Uncle took a minute, y'all. Don't worry about it.
Listen, we still trying to work this technology.
Listen, after 3 years, that don't make sense, Richie. That don't make sense. Thank you for bearing with me and my time schedule, Richie, and also audience. We know we said 5. Oh shit, the numbers just popping up.
Hey,
it's up.
It's up.
So listen, y'all, I was tardy to the party. Richie knows that I sent him a live shot of the trauma that I was experiencing, and it was trauma. You missed it on my live, Richie. This top lip is still numb. So if I'm not as precise in my diction as usual, that's why. I can't feel anything from the top lip up. And, I'm going to say this, and then we're going to, of course, get to Bet on Black, the good news. You read the book, right, Richie? You got
your copy. I got my galley.
You got your questions.
Oh, I got my questions lined up already.
Okay, you're such a great interviewer. All jokes aside, that's why I really am. We're doing the last Bet on Black Friday with you because come Tuesday, she's here. Come Tuesday, she's here. But you ask such great questions, and they're fun and they're astute, and so we'll get to it. But I do have to tell y'all a little Auntie E story, and that is I am a bad bitch in all spaces except for the dentist chair. I was showing my black ass in that chair, Richie. I was showing my entire ass. It was.
Do they know that that's a quote from the book as well?
Now they do. Now they do. I'm a bad bitch in all spaces. Caveat. I am a soft ass, pussy ass.
Evan, they supposed to numb you and all that. Like,
that's why I can't really speak. I'm numb. But they
bad. You a G. You done been through Fox News.
Honey, that's the fire. But I don't know. I might take another day with O'Reilly over this needle. That was ooh, baby. All right, guys. Enough of me being silly. Let's get to the tea. Let's get to the book. So I just want to know, first off, before you get to your amazing questions, is what did you think? And was it what you expected? That's what I want to know.
Okay. So I'm going to be real. It was not what I expected.
Okay.
It was actually juicier than I expected.
Ooh.
Because I thought that it was going to be, I knew what you could give me, right? I knew what you could give me on an educational front.
Yes.
But I think I didn't anticipate for you to also go in as deep on your own life and experiences as you did, which really lent itself to some very good questions, especially for me as a media professional. And I know that there are a lot of people who are watching this who are also aspiring entertainment reporters. And I say that because it's easy to just lump everybody into bloggers, right?
Sure.
But I say entertainment reporters because media has changed. And I think you, especially by evidence of this book, and not only the book, but also your work, it's evident that you are at the forefront of that change in how media is happening.
Thank you, baby.
Yeah,
It means a lot. Yeah, I wrote this one from a really vulnerable place. I think that comes through. I hope that came through in the book. I'm at a point now, Richie, where I'm almost 40 years old, and it's just no shame in my game. And for some reason, especially in the industry that we are in, but I think this is true across the board. So if you're listening to this conversation and you're not in media, if you're in finance, if you're in education, if you're in medicine, if you are in business, whatever, very true in media, people like to make it look so effortless. So easy. So I was just walking down the street, minding my good business, and all of a sudden they dropped a national syndicated show in my lap. And I'm here to tell you, for the most part, that's bullshit. That's some bullshit. And as somebody who's 10 plus years in the game, just on the media side, after the 7+ years I practiced law, to this day, there are executives that will hit you with, you've done great work. And so I intentionally added the one of the last chapters, process, to speak to that, to speak to the fact that none of us are above the process of our journey, both personally and professionally. Okay, so I'm gonna shut up now and I want to answer any questions you have.
No, that was a great start, and I thought it would be fun. Okay, we're gonna give a little tea away.
Let's get some tea.
A little bit of tea away, but I think that for me it was important, and I'm gonna be a little bit selfish because I am gonna ask some questions from the lens of somebody who does what I do, because I know that people who because I feel like it's important not only to me but to anybody that's watching this, right?
And this is your audience, you know, again, like I've done this with Van Lathan, I've done this with Dr. David Johns, I've done these with a litany of people, these Bet on Black Fridays, Richie. And one of the reasons Anna, who's been, my godsend, Anna Spitz, during this process, who got and booked you and everything, we talked about who we wanted to be in conversation with. And I say this humbly, it's a lot of motherfuckers I know, Richie. It's a lot of motherfuckers I could talk to. I wanted to talk to you for a reason, because your audience and your base is important to the work that I do. So I want you to ask questions based on your lens.
Okay, perfect. Because this for those of you who are watching, this will stay on my Instagram live, but it's also going to go on my YouTube and on my Facebook as well, because I feel like this is an important conversation. And I also want you to know that I want people to order this book. I want people to get it. And I say that as someone who is who looks at you as, again, the forefront of emerging media. So let me ask you this. I thought it would be fun to kind of go with some quotes.
Let's do it.
Have you give me like a little bit of a further explanation.
Okay, I like that.
Okay.
Damn, my teeth do look good though.
They do. It was work to see how that was working.
All that beauty is pain. They ain't never lied.
Okay.
They got a bitch hurting, but go ahead. But I'm sparkling.
All right. So the first one is literally kind of at the beginning of the book.
Okay.
But it says Bet on Black is ultimately about reframing and reimagining our possibilities as a people. But I want to take it further, because there was one other thing that hit me. It says, and listen, I know a lot of us out here trying to get chosen by somebody. So here's your opportunity. Choose your damn self.
Yeah.
Explain this. I know what it means for me, right?
It hit.
This notion of trying to get chosen by somebody. Can you talk to the people about that?
Let's unpack it. Okay, so quiet is kept. I have been at a point in my life, Richie, where I have been trying to be chosen by a man, chosen by a father whose identity I didn't know about until what you guys saw play out on Ronnie 13. Chosen by an industry that said I was both too much and not enough. So yeah, that notion of trying to get chose is very real, and it's nothing really to be ashamed of. But what I wrote that part to speak to, Richie, is that when you are constantly doing whatever it is that you're doing, whether it's your work, whether it's your aesthetic, whether it is your energy, come on, we on Instagram Live, whether it's what you're putting on your social media feeds, right? It's okay to do that with the hope of a reaction. What I'm encouraging people to do in this book is, first and foremost, be concerned with your own acceptance of yourself. Because before you can get chose by another, which let me let you know, it may or may not happen. My therapist, and I believe in therapy, I talk about my therapist a lot in the book. She made a really good point around this notion of being chose. She said, Eboni, you could be the juiciest, most delicious, sweetest peach, shout out to Atlanta Housewives, in the world. But if someone is shopping for broccoli, you'll never be good enough. Right? So I think that's the point, is in our effort to try to be chosen, we presume that we know what some other business, partner, entity, network wants. And that is a false presumption. It is a presumption that invites disappointment and heartache. So the best thing that you can do is choose your damn self. And I have chosen myself, Richie. I really have. And that's say I don't have moments of insecurity. That's not to say I don't have moments of curiosity. I invite the back and forth. But ultimately, underneath the hood, I don't give a fuck because I'm extremely happy with my choices, with the woman that I am, and to becoming more so. And it feels really, really good to be of choice to my own self.
How do you took it in actually a slightly different direction than I thought that you were actually speaking about, because I didn't even think about some of the journey that we saw you take on Real Housewives of New York being, you know, just in terms of familial, you know, searching for that.
Yeah.
I was looking at it really from the lens of like your work and the work that we do here in a lot of these spaces.
Sure.
I feel like I don't know if I consider myself still a media professional in that sense. I feel like what I do now is it's almost like I can't label it, right?
I think you also, Richie, and I think we've kind of talked about this in previous conversation. You and some of your contemporaries, I think Dustin Ross is also in this conversation. I think when we think about legacy media, right, like Guard, which is fine, I just think that this moment requires more curiosity, more visuals, more variation format. And so someone like yourself, now for other people, I know I'm not telling you nothing you don't know, Richie, you represent a threat. You and yours, you and everybody like you, who's willing to can go from Fox 5 to Instagram Live to Carlos's podcast and back around again. That represents a threat, because who does he think he is? What is he? Is he a news contributor? Is he a podcaster? Is he a personality? He's all of it, my love. And only when, again, you choose yourself and you get comfortable in that. That's what I mean when I say I chose myself, Richie. I don't give a fuck what nobody say. I was a dope ass fucking housewife. And I'm dope on The View, and I'm great on Breakfast Club, and I'm great with this book that's about to be a bestseller, and I'm great, and I'm great on The Griot, giving you the news from the top to the bottom. You won't define me because I've already chosen myself, my love. You know, and in my choosing myself, I've given myself permission. I don't need your permission. I've given myself permission to occupy all the space.
That leads me to another question. It's really, again, another quote. In the book, this was more about, I think, entrepreneurship.
Sure.
And specifically land, without giving too much away, right?
Yeah.
But I think it's also important.
Stop you, Richie. Land, one of the only things God cannot create more of. Continue.
So you tell me, because I now want you to go for it. This is what I love. I was going one place, but you took me to another, right? Where I was going was, the quote reads this: "My point here is that it's imperative for us to play this concept of ownership, to allow the versatility, craftiness, and ingenuity that allowed us to survive under adverse circumstances to dictate our financial growth. Be flexible and open by all means. Invest into your own beautiful, bountiful future." For me, my question was going to be, how did that level of thinking influence the moves that you've made in terms of owning your own platforms? But now you got me on the land thing specifically, because that's what it was really about.
Well, it's both.
Okay.
No, I didn't misconstrue it. Let me be very clear. Owning platform is, to me, like, there's something to be said when someone can't fire you. It just is. It just is, right? It hits. That's why you drink into it. It's something special. Whether or not, I'll use you for an example. If you want to go chop it up with Carlos, if you want to go chop it up with Candace from Potomac, if you want to go also then do Fox 5, if you want to go do GMA, no one can say, Richie, you're out of bounds, because you have created your platform, and thus you dictate the boundaries of which you exist. That's very important to me. I opened that chapter with it's really hard to be free in this world if you don't own anything. Y'all, it's hard. And everything in this book, that I'm Black, the good news about being Black in America today, available wherever you get your books on Tuesday.
Amen. And y'all, the link is in my bio.
So kind of you, yeah, to put the link in your
Absolutely.
bio. Thank you for that. But this book is really, truly, if I had to say in one sentence, it's about the liberation and the full, unequivocal, unfettered freedom of being Black in America today. And I believe that freedom, Richie, is tethered. That freedom, though, is tethered to ownership. You've got to own something. You've got to either own. Let me tell you who I had a great conversation with. I know you're in DC Metro, and you know I'm gonna be in your neighborhood next week. I have so I'll let you know the details. Okay. I'm coming to Baltimore and I'm coming to DC. But I was having a conversation with a Harlem legend, a New York City icon. Her name is Melba. And Melba owns a soul food restaurant, an American fare restaurant here in Harlem. What's his name? Harry and Meghan came to Melba's when they came to New York City. It's iconic. But Melba and I were having a conversation. Melba had an opportunity early in her career as a restaurateur to do a multi-million, I'm talking about big, 7-figure, 8-figure deal in restaurants. And all it would have cost her was her name. Melba, even at her young age back then, it was 20 some years ago, she said, I cannot sell my name. The one thing I've got to own is my name.
Amen.
And so that's what I'm also speaking to, Richie, in that chapter. Owning your name, owning your likeness. But also, let's talk about land. Because land is something that is a finite quantity. You know, there's many things that can be further created. Commerce. Money. They print new money every day. That's a good example, right? But the land that we occupy as global citizens and as Americans, it is what it is. No more of it is coming. So if you look on the inside of my book, of my author's bio, that last sentence, and the edit that didn't come from the public like that, it says Williams is an attorney and a frequent public speaker on Black culture and history. And it says Williams lives and owns in Harlem, USA. And not even a flex as much as it's I'm a woman to my word, Richie. I'm not gonna be out here talking to y'all or nobody about ownership and its importance and its connection to liberation if I have not been through the journey and the sacrifice what it is to own the place I lay my head. You know? So yeah, there's a lot more in the chapter, obviously, which is why I need y'all to buy this book. I need you to read this book. And listen, which is okay. It's on audio.
I was gonna say that because somebody asked in the chat.
Yeah. Download the Audible. Download the audiobook. Because especially if you're a fan of Holding Court and you enjoy my speaking voice, it's like a long episode of Holding Court, but a real good one.
Oh, so you did it yourself? Of
course. And you know what? Some white executive was like, "Oh, why didn't you just outsource that, bitch?" I'm sorry.
No.
But
that makes a difference because honestly, like for real, if I'm, because I know it's you, right? And because we know you, I think, and it makes me want, because I have the digital version, obviously.
Go ahead.
But I want a hard copy, you know, because I like the decor of it.
Also, Richie, to attest, it's a beautiful book.
It is. Literally, it is. And I want the audio now because it's your voice.
Yeah, it's my voice. And I spent probably more than that. It reads at 7-ish hours, but I did 4 days in studio and I was brought to tears at some of the points in the book. And I wrote it. but revisiting it. Oh, hi, cheers, Krishan. That's my editor, Krishan Trotman. Shout out to Legacy Lit.
Hey.
No, but there is something, you know me. I am a little bit like a preacher. I ain't gonna lie. People call me teachy and preachy. There's a little gospel in me.
It's a little bit. That's what it is. It's not really it's gospel.
It's gospel.
That's what it is.
I'm a child of the Father. I'm a child of the Holy Spirit and the higher power. So I get excited. And when I read this manuscript, Richie, it comes alive in a different way. It does. Really, really does. Now I have to and I don't like to give too much energy to negativity, but somebody in the comments says something that I believe is worth addressing.
Okay, I missed that one.
There's something in the comments that says something like, "Oh, Eboni, I really like you and you're great, but that Harlem dinner wasn't hitting. I would have preferred something more entertaining."
Oh, can you save that for 1 second?
Yeah, I will.
Pause. And I just want to say something because actually this takes me to a point that I was going to get to.
Let's do it. Let's go.
Okay. So, it's not a quote because it was
Terry, come here.
It's more of a longer passage, I would say, in the book, guys. The Harlem Night episode is actually referenced in the book.
Yes.
And for me, what I found more interesting than what was shown was the dedication to the diversity of everything that was put into the dinner that made it special.
Thank you.
And we never got to see that. And so I honestly can't wait to hear the audio of that. Because it's one thing to read it, but you know, I'm a production nerd. So I love knowing those little behind the scenes nuggets.
Yeah.
You know, so now, okay, given that, let's talk about that Harlem Night.
Let's talk about it. I just want to say, this is Carrie James. This is my sweet fur baby. In a moment like this, where we deep into it, like we into it, I'm gonna go in this kitchen and go ahead and make my martini because I need a refill. Don't you wish baby, go on and make me a refill. You make me a refill. I'm gonna put her down. Anyway. All right. So let's as you said, Richie's right, y'all. Richie's had the privilege of reading the book early. I go there in chapter 3 because a lot of y'all had a lot to say about the Harlem dinner. And this is what I would say to you with love, with LOVE. Most of y'all motherfuckers ain't even never heard of half the individual reference that evening. And while you're so pressed to laugh and be entertained, what you need to be concerned with is understanding yourself, your identity, and your entire being on a better, deeper level. And if, I don't know, a 5-course meal that included lobster bisque, shea crab, custom cocktails, including for the sober alcoholic women in the group, custom music by Spanish Harlem's greatest, Jazz Fine, in a Black-owned, queer-owned Harlem venue, which is the remaining last true speakeasy above 1st Street, below 150th. If that's not enough for you, I suggest you look in another direction. I really do. Because I'm quite proud of it. And for those of you, there's a lot of Black folks, a lot of us. Don't think that the work of the oppressor is only done by those that don't reflect us. A lot of us, I mean, we saw what happened today in Memphis, and I'm going to leave that right there. Some of us love to do the work of the oppressor. Anyway, what I would say to you is stop looking for opportunities to appease and accommodate, and start inviting opportunities to evolve and elevate. Okay? Because Harlem Night was revolutionary. I want you to name any franchise, any season, anywhere where the names were spoken of James Baldwin, of Langston Hughes, of W.E.B. Du Bois. And for all the shenanigans some of my cast gave on air, Guess what I smelled? Guess what aroma piqued my nose when I walked into their Upper East Side condo? Their rent. Guess what, Richie? Their rentals. I sure saw those Langston Hughes Harlem Candle Company candles lit. I sure saw those Speakeasy candles lit. I sure saw those Josephine Baker candles lit in their rentals. So, it just, the math ain't mathing. Go ahead. I am going to go ahead, a little refill, just a little sprinkle, and I'm going to be right back.
Okay. Listen, y'all, while we got 2 quick seconds for this little commercial break, one, I want to say, Thatcher, what's up? Y'all, Thatcher was one of my producers when I was on Stripped over at Bravo. But y'all, listen to this. Eboni K. Williams' new book, Bet on Black, is out on the 31st. Now, the questions that I have seen most in the chat are, is it on audio? Yes, it is on audio. Eboni is actually reading the audio herself. So you will get an opportunity to hear more of her in her own words as she narrates this wonderfully executed work of, I don't want to call it art because it's too small of a word for me, obviously. I think it's just, this is her story. It's a bit of her legacy. And I feel like you are only just beginning, but we could hold off on that praise because I got one more.
Yeah. Come on, Richie. I'm ready.
No. I got, I got 2 more, but this is the one I want to hit first.
Okay.
The quote reads, I've always had an affinity for the thing, the work, the benefits that comes with doing the thing that most folk, despite their best efforts, cannot do.
Yeah. You want to know what I thought?
I want to know what your thought was. And I see several instances just looking at your career path where I can see that you've swerved into those lanes. Like, oh, you know what I'm going to do? Nobody's doing that. I'm going to do this.
Okay.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah, let's talk about it. Shout out to Miss Phelps, shout out to GJP, Giselle Phelps in the house.
Hey.
This is probably going to sound a certain way to some, what I'm about to say. That's okay. If someone else can do it, Richie, I'm really not interested. And that comes from 2 places. It comes from a spiritual place. I do believe that God's assigned most of us certain spiritual gifts. And I'm someone who has never been afraid. First of all, I'm not afraid of the cold. I'm going to say that one more time. I'm cold. Okay. And in the context of that statement, I'm not afraid to stand alone.
That's what I heard.
Yeah, I'm not afraid to be at the cafeteria table by myself. I'm not afraid to be at the bus stop shivering for the sake of me and mine. People need, and that's okay. I'm just for some, maybe it's because I'm an only child. Maybe it's because I'm Virgo. Maybe because I'm a child of Gloria Jean Williams. For whatever reason, I am built for the shiver. Built to stand alone. So if it's for everybody, it ain't for me. So then the inverse must be true, right? So then if it's the thing that others are maybe afraid, maybe skeptical, maybe unsure. So I'll give you an example. Not many people thought it wise of me, Richie, especially when I started my broadcast career, to try to marry elements of beauty and aesthetic, because I am a beauty queen, clearly.
Amen. Yo, look, even in that dentist chair.
I'm just like a child. That was, oh yeah, Richie saw me, I was like, oh! But that with the academic astuteness of someone who has bachelor's, law, honorary doctorate degrees, but then take it further because I'm real crazy and bring the cultural influx of unapologetic, unadulterated blackness to it.
Mm.
That sounded like a gumbo of confusion to a lot of people. I had agents tell me it wouldn't work. I had executives tell me it wouldn't work. I had so-called friends tell me it wouldn't work. But my God knew better. My God said, not only will it work, Eboni, it is, and now I'm answering your second question, Richie. My God told me it was the actual key to unlock this. Giselle said, you better remind us of that honorary doctor. You got damn right. It's probably a lot of names. Dr. K. Williams, Eboni K. Williams, Esquire. And come Monday, Richie, here's an exclusive for you and your channel. There's actually a new title that you can call me by. It's dropping Monday in a press. Don't miss it in the trades. Anyway, but here's the thing. I knew that 6 words to be a millionaire, and not that being a millionaire is even it, right? But basically 6 words to success. Find, avoid, and fill it. Find, avoid, and fill it. And one of my friends, Richie, talked to me about that, and I felt there was a void when it came to someone occupying a space of femininity, strength, acute blackness, academia, higher learning, black consciousness, and accessibility. Because a lot of, listen, I'm not about to sit up here and pretend with you, Richie, or your audience that I'm the only black intellect. Oh my God, we've got so many. You know, I'd be here all day naming them, and thank God for them. None other than Nicole Hannah Jones, who's 1619, is premiering this week on Hulu, right? And I mean, we'd be here all day. You know, Simone Sanders, Angela Wright, plenty of black intellect, and thank God we have some. But where I thought there was a need was a black intelligentsia that invited others. That said, I don't believe in a slave token mentality that says there's only room for one or even a few. Mentality that said, I am actually a regular ass bitch from West Charlotte. I'm actually not special. It's true. And I invite mine and ours to come along in this journey. And again, going back to that's why I wrote the book, Richie. That's why I wrote the book. The book is an invitation, is a passport of sorts to come along with us in the journey of black liberation, however you see fit. You don't have to do it like I do it. You don't have to how you do it, but you can do it how you fit. And in that process, choose yourself and your liberation. That's it.
Listen, before we go, I need for y'all, everybody in this, let me say this. Everybody in this chat right now, I need you to just do this real quick for me. Write this down in the chat. Find a void and fill it. And I say write it down because I always feel like you write the vision down, you make it plain, you make it clear, right? I
love that.
And I want you guys to write it down because I want it to be a collective thought. You guys, as you leave this and as you go and order your copy, okay? Giselle Phelps is working. I send my offering. We'll send it to the church of the Amazon link that I just sent you.
There you go. And fill it. And that is, I have to cite my source on that, Richie. That's per Mr. Butch Williams, Esquire, who was my mentor in the law and who taught me that lawyering wasn't just about statutes and rules and legislation, that it was about advocating for your people. And that's how I came up. And I think that's why I show up different. I think that's how I show up different, Richie, is because for me, it's not about likes or popularity or any of the things that I think a lot of people expect, you know, that narrative. I'm gonna close with this because, you know, I like to go there. Some people say, well, you know, I really like Eboni, but I don't think she was a good housewife. And I say to that, why? I want you to define a good housewife for me. Is it a person? Is it a woman that allows you to toil with her substance, that allows you to objectify her as pure spectacle? Is it someone who permits the entertainment and levity at the expense of anything that will even challenge you to think? Because if that's what you define as a good housewife, I think you need to look that mirror at your motherfucking face. And I think you need to reassess what you allow women that put their lives in front of cameras for your entertainment pleasure to exist at. And I believe that some of the best housewives look a litany of ways.
Mm-hmm.
About housewives and not talk about Nene Leakes. You can't talk about housewives and not talk about Candy Burris. You can't talk about housewives or whatever you think and not talk about Karen Huger. You can't talk about housewives and not talk about what I think is the brilliance of Garcelle Boubet. But y'all get my black ass. You can't talk about housewives and not talking about Eboni K. Williams, because a bitch was so thorough, a bitch was so potent that they had to redo the whole motherfucking thing. Which is why in the book, Bet on Black, the good news about being Black in America today, available with I was, whatever you say, I was the most impactful single season housewife this entire franchise ever saw. And that. Any more questions, Richie?
You know what? As per usual, Eboni, I leave every conversation of ours speechless. Okay? Speechless.
Richie, you're so light and brown black man is full on red. He is red as Rudolph's nose.
Eboni,
You're so cute.
You already know I love you to death.
I do. I really do. I'm having some fun. But I told you offline and on. I don't give a fuck what these people talking about, Richie. You're it. You're next. You're actually at this point, Richie, you're now. And I hope you know that. So go ahead and I had a tagline once. The tagline said, twice as hard for half as much. Now I'm coming for everything. Richie, it's time for your everything.
Amen.
It's time for your everything.
You know what? Y'all, we just got a word from Eboni K. Williams, whose new book, Bet on Black, is out January 31st. But you don't have to wait until then.
That's true.
Click the link in my bio. Order her book today. Audio, Kindle, hard copy, it's all there for you. So if you want to hear that voice, and if you want to hear Eboni drop some more gems, go on and get your audio copy or Audible, right? Right?
Both.
Okay, get it everywhere.
Book, everything, y'all. I really do. I'm having so much fun. I love Richie. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Fucking going. I'm here for you if you ever, we have a lot of friends in common, and I hope they told you beyond who I am in this space. I want us to all win. So
I know.
Any whatever, however I'm helpful, you let me know.
Thank you. You are, y'all already know. Eboni, we have to continue this conversation. I want to talk to you in about a month or two.
Listen, in a month or two, more people will have absorbed the meat.
I know.
Of this book.
I want to, there's so much more that I.
Auntie E's battery dying, but that's the devil. That ain't nothing. And I guess what, Richie, I rebuke it. Well, listen, you know what I would love to do? I would love us to do another live and somehow have questions that we bring to the forefront and we can kind of ping pong our answers. I think that people would love that.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Okay, baby.
So we'll schedule that. Love y'all. Eboni, thank you.
It'll be fully functioning. It'll be great.
Oh, listen, your lips, they have no problems working these words today, okay?
Thank you.
Bye, y'all.